Yeah. Okay. Welcome to the Honor Among Men podcast. Real men, real issues, real talk. Men of God, what's happening? Hey. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We it's kind of a special podcast, you know what I'm saying? Happy Memorial Day.
Labor Day.
Oh, Labor Day, you know what I'm saying?
To play away.
You know what I'm saying?
If not, stay away.
Hey.
Put the beat back on.
Put the beat back on, you know what I'm saying? Might as well.
Got you hyped.
So Labor Day, that's not military. That's
that's
for those who
work.
labor. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you if you a laborer in the vineyard. You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
And on the skin yard. It's like, I don't know. Is it a skin yard?
That sounds like
Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy.
Word.
Next time, let's have it at a barbecue or something, you know.
Yeah, that's going to be dope. That's going to be dope. We definitely need to do that. On location situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. But everybody good, you know what I'm saying? Man, let's just get to it, man. I want to talk today about toxic masculinity and what it is, well, I can't say what it's not, because you know what it is, what society and the people that created the phrase is making it out to be. It's actually something that I heard not that long ago. It's actually like a new thing. Y'all heard of it?
fairly new after
Yeah.
a few situations in the media.
Yeah. It's definitely one of them one of them buzzwords you hear over and over again. And I know the first time I heard it, I kind of ignored it, but then you keep hearing it. It's like, man, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is toxic masculinity? And you can kind of get a feeling to what people mean when they're using it. You know what I'm saying? So I did a little bit of research, and here's the definition that I came up with, or that I, just from doing my research. So toxic masculinity is the idea where machismo, or machoism, whatever you want to call it, strength and aggression are heavily encouraged, while femininity and emotional vulnerability is never accepted. And so basically what people are doing is they're frowning on, that. You know what I'm saying? They're frowning on, macho men, if you will, or frowning on signs of, strength, things that we recognize as strength, or aggression. You know what I'm saying? Now, in my opinion, machismo, strength, and aggression have their place. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to being a man.
Sure.
People might not agree, people might not like that, but hey man, look, it is what it is. And so what I want to ask y'all is, after hearing that definition, what would you say, like what came to mind, like when I said that, Mike?
Me, I just felt like they were poo-pooing like self, people being who they were created to be.
Okay.
And I was messing around when I was reading it, and I was like, I'm gonna coin a term to combat this, just making jokes. And essentially, I just felt like we as Christians, we were given a role what we're supposed to be in, and it ain't a role of a man to be emotional. And basically, when you read this term, and it's saying, the definition of the term, when I was looking through it, it's saying, like, basically, they want you to promote, or the opposite of that definition, they want you to promote sensitive men or crying and being in touch with your inner man, quote unquote, your other X chromosome.
Inner
Yeah,
feminine.
your inner woman.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a thing.
Being in touch with your feminine side.
For sure. Femininity.
Yeah.
And it disgusts me, just, personally on the inside. I think it's a diabolical term just from the fact that it makes men, the other gender, like, what's the point of having the women if we both gonna be, the same?
Huh.
So if we're opposites, let's do opposite things, and we can come together and work together. I understand 1 + 1 = 2, but we can be different and still make a number.
Word.
Man, that sounded like something poetic right there.
Snaps.
Right.
What about you, Brandon?
I think it's an agenda. My thing is, like, they're adding two things together that really to make it an agenda. Like, either you're a toxic person or you're not. Why did you have to add masculinity to it? That's how I know that it became an agenda. Like, a toxic person is a toxic person.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're man or woman, you know what I'm saying? But you add masculinity to it to push an agenda. So now you're going to have men second guessing their role. Like, am I supposed to be tough in this moment, or should I? It's like, no, man, be the man you supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And they add that toxic masculinity to throw you off, and then the lines are gonna get blurred. Am I just being masculine, or am I being toxic masculinity? You know what I'm saying? It's an agenda to push, and it comes in a time. Look at the times we're in, where everybody wants you to be soft. Let's talk about this. Let's do this. And don't get me wrong, it's all right for a man to know when he feels a certain way, emotion.
Okay.
But I think what makes you a man is how you react to it.
Okay.
That's what makes you a man. You know what I'm saying? If something goes wrong, am I gonna sit here and cry, or am I gonna find out a solution?
Yeah,
That's what makes you a man.
Okay, cool. We can unpack that. I do want to unpack that
You
a little
ready
bit
for that?
later.
Yeah, clearly.
I want to unpack that a little bit later. What about you, Rick?
While I was looking into this term, I see that it really became popular after the Me Too movement
Okay.
started surfacing. Something that crossed my mind while I was, reading different articles, I thought about the scripture, referring to the woman being the weaker vessel. We both can't be the weaker vessel.
Okay.
Now, I'm like Brandon and Mike, and I'm sure all of us, we're human, so we experience emotions as well. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, men cry, yes. Like, that's a fact. However, and Brandon said it best, your response to a particular situation is really what's going to set you apart. When adversity or the challenges arise, do you hide under the rock, hide under the cover, or do you meet it head on? You know what I'm saying? Or do you worry so much to where it hinders your progression? Or as a man of God, does your concern lead you into prayer, where we find our strength, as well? So it's all about. I like that, the response, but yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it, bro.
Word. All right. So, toxic masculinity is. Would you think, like, different phrases like "no homo"? Is that like a form of toxic masculinity? Like,
Nope.
Pause. After you say something that's possibly suspect.
Now, if we look at it from the grand scheme or a bigger picture, saying that would be like an example of homophobia. You feel me? And that's actually one of the things that's associated with this term.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Being homophobic.
Yes, sir.
So, saying pause or no homo, it's us and when I say us, just the community, and you know, the culture, the people that actually use it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a way to clear up any confusion,
Right.
you know, to make it known this is the declaration. Look, it sounds kind of funny when I say it, but it's not like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And essential that those two terms are, it's a game. That's what we see, like, because the people that you talking to know you're not a
Homosexual.
Homosexual, yeah, that's the word. They know you're not homosexual, so it's just a game. Get a couple laughs, you know, and keep it moving. But we're not gonna sit here and turn that term or those phrases into
Yeah, I'm with you. But that's what
toxic masculinity.
they would
Like,
ask why. Why would you have to say it then? You know what I'm saying?
'Cause I'm
like
joking
on the
with my
bigger
friend.
picture.
Because I'm joking with my friend. What about people that, because I hear you, it's a game, you know what I'm saying? And I definitely do understand and have seen it, you know, as far as like, you know, people bantering or, you know, playful with it. But it's some cats out here that take it serious. Like,
I take it serious personally.
no homo. I'm talking about that phrase.
Man, no
though.
homo. I do. I take it serious just from the mere fact that as a man, I think it's certain things that are not accepted as a man to do. And like we could joke about it. We could say like, "Bro, you looking fly today." But I look at my wife, or you know, having moms and aunts and so forth. It's easy for them to look at a woman on TV and or at a award show or something, saying she looks beautiful, or talk about how the opposite sex, the same sex look, and address it. Mm-hmm. For men, especially as a black man, I just don't think it's a part of our culture to play gay. So because we don't play with those terms or that with that type of stuff, saying no homo is important to me, because it's like I identifying like, no, we don't do that. We don't play with that behavior.
Okay.
And it's not a behavior you should play with. Personally, myself, I just think like, nah, no homo. You know, you say something out of pocket, you just make sure you know you letting that person know, no disrespect. In a sense.
Dig this. You actually bring you opening up the can right now with that one.
Yes, sir.
Now dig this.
My bad.
No. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. There's layers to this thing. Do you really have to say no homo? Like we really don't have to say it. You feel me? Like I hear what you're saying. Like I hear it. Exactly 100%. But really, like our old heads, our grandfathers will look at us crazy if we said something, no homo. Like, boy, what you talking about?
Yeah.
Right,
No homo.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
We come from a generation though that's a little different, because they didn't
Absolutely.
play that type of conversations at all either. And we come, a lot of our generation was raised as single mom homes. So a lot of that, that feminist stuff is in us innately, or by us being raised.
But now
Nature versus nurture, essentially. Like we were nurtured into a position there. We are more sensitive to the women's perspective. So since we're so more sensitive to the women's perspective, I think about this for instance. I'm going to a predominantly white university. I would see, my white male friends slap each other on the butt.
Okay.
Oh no! That's not going to happen in back where I was from.
Absolutely.
I went to all boys school for a minute. Nah, we don't play that. You don't do that to me. We don't say them type of things. And I just think when you observe another culture, you're looking at how they behave with one another. So when I seen heterosexual men slapping each other on the butt, I'm like, oh, these dudes kind of, no homo. Don't play that with me.
Yeah, but now the thing is and I feel you. That's having boundaries. That's
Right,
your
right,
standard.
right,
absolutely.
Like 100%. That's not even like no homo. Like don't touch me.
Don't touch
Yeah,
me.
Period.
Right.
Straight up.
But now with the whole no homo thing, it's not like when Urban says it's a game. It's not to where we say something soft or funny intentionally. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds funny, and that's the game part. Like to where you said something serious,
Right. But
it's
the way it sounds makes you even second guess yourself. Like, no homo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
second
whoa,
guess
that
myself.
that did not come out right.
And
Well, that's how it looks. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how it looks. That's how it looks when I see people. Just for instance, I was watching another podcast, and the guy was like, "Yo, we gonna dig into your past," and everybody looked around, and dude was like, "Oh wait," he had to catch himself. Like, "Oh wait, no homo." Like, but. And this is just me, because I don't say it, and, not a game I play. But to me, it's like, bro, you don't need to say that, especially if I'm amongst friends. I know you not gay, so you don't have to tell me no homo. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I saw it as a game, because when I was in the Army and we were in Iraq, like, you just was so bored that sometimes everything your homies said, they was like, no homo, you know what I'm saying? So it was like a game. And I'm like,
for sure.
But we all knew we weren't gay. You know what I'm saying? But I just think when you in that environment where it's like putting that exclamation on a joke at the end. Like, I say something, yada yada. You sit there, oh, no homo. You know what I'm saying? That's what it kind of came out off as. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we all knew no one in the room was gay. You know what I'm saying? It was just something to say at the end of a sentence because it became part of pop culture.
Yeah, and that's really my point. We really don't have to say it. You know what I'm saying? But when it's big in New York. For sure.
That's
really where
y'all created it.
You know, so it's big there. So y'all can say something, and if you don't say no homo, like, it's not going to be like I'm going to be waiting.
Right.
Hold on, finish it off.
Hold on, you're not done, sir.
You're not done. You know, so it's not like that. But it is funny because sometimes I just say it just to be funny though. But I'm kind of like beyond that myself.
Yeah, for sure.
But the whole smacking on the butt, like, no, that's
some
totally
homo.
different.
Hey, but you know what? Real talk. That is very cultural. I actually used to back home in Detroit. I used to work for some Arabian people, and they used to do this thing with each other. It was like a family-owned business, and so it was. You know, a lot of the family members used to come in and out, and they used to walk up to each other, and in between your legs, they used to do like this. They used to grab the 3 fingers and go, but they wouldn't touch you, but they would just put it right there, like, to each other.
You got that sound?
Yeah, like, for real. No, and it was super weird, like watching them walk around and do that to each other, like. To the point to where I was like, why do y'all do that? Like, what is going on?
Why did they do that?
And it was like a greeting. That's what the men do to each other, where they're from. And I forgot where they said they was from, but that's like a part of their culture. Where they're from, they just, and it's a way of going like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Type of deal. I'm just like, dog, that's wild.
That's crazy.
I would have been uncomfortable.
Yeah. Definitely make you uncomfortable watching it. Like, what in the world?
We're gonna fight.
You know what I'm saying? So it just speaks to the point of, like, walking around patting each other on the butt, like,
or the joke when people slap each other in the groins.
Oh boy,
bro, don't ever reach your hand.
Again, culture,
culture, man.
Because I've been around different cultures. Because I used to work in construction, so the language on the construction site is like being on a pirate ship. You understand what I'm saying? So they say all type of stuff.
That's about
and
accurate,
like,
bro.
Gay stuff too. Like gay, like the majority of the time is something gay, but these dudes that are like kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like they're very masculine, but the joke, and I think it's just to like get through the day. Maybe I haven't really assessed it, or analyzed it fully. I don't plan to either, but now that we're talking about it, just reflecting, I did used to be like, bro, like how many times can you make references to, your stuff or what you gonna do to somebody if they say something, like, dude, like, come on, just send the wire. You know what I'm saying? Give me a jackhammer, bro. I'm trying to work. Like, I ain't trying to hear all of that, man. But like you said, we do certain things to pass the time.
Right.
I don't condone it all, but we do certain things to pass the time, I guess.
Word. What about men don't cry? Is that a form of toxic masculinity? Because, I mean,
it's false.
You test on it. Right. You test on it. Like,
you said it's false?
Men cry.
Now, when I say men cry, I'm not saying as in...
Get to it.
Oh man, it's not like we cry for everything. It has I can't even like pinpoint it honestly.
Right.
Like so for example, you know, just being men of God. It's been times when I'm in the middle of praise and worship, and tears are falling down my eyes. Essentially, I'm crying, but it doesn't mean I'm boo-hoo crying. You know what I'm saying? It's more like a thank you, a gratitude. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the middle of worship, so I mean, it's still not like boo-hoo. That's not what I'm referring to when I say cry.
I think the statement stems from, you know, when you're teaching your child, you know, boys don't cry, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's a learning tool. It's not really teaching them. Like, the statement came from teaching them to assess. When do you really need to cry? Do you falling off this bike mean you need to cry right now? Think about it before you cry. You know what I'm saying? That's what it came from. And I think they're like I said, it's because I think I know it's an agenda. They're dragging all of these terms that we use
into
as learning tools and putting it in a bunch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everyone know that when you tell a boy, hey, don't cry, you're not talking about like if you're really hurt, right? You know what I'm saying? Ever. It's like before you cry, assess the situation. Is this really a reason for you to be crying right now?
Is it cry-worthy?
Right. Or do you need to get up and wipe yourself off and keep going? You know what I'm saying? It's a learning tool.
Yeah.
Can we? Oh, go ahead.
I think one of our good friends, Jason, says this. I heard him say it, and I'm like, I'm gonna use that. And he told his son to control his emotions, and I think that's something that as men we learn how to do. And what Rick was speaking about is doing praise and worship when we're giving honor to God. And tears may be coming out. We're thinking about whatever we may be going through. But I think men don't cry in front of your wife when you're going through something. She's saying something to hurt your feelings, and you start boo-hooing.
Okay.
You like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Men don't cry. That's not stuff we cry for.
That's the proper time to use that term.
That's the proper
Like,
term.
bro, you a man. What is you doing?
Like, and that's showing weakness. Like your wife not looking to you for you to be emotional with her. She's looking for you to assess it and make a plan. So if she's telling you something, or if there's a situation when I'm talking to my son, he fall off his bike, men don't cry. What you gonna do so you won't fall off the bike the next time? Control your emotions. Think about what we're gonna do next.
Right.
And that's what men need to do. So teaching somebody how to be the head is not saying don't, like you were saying, Brandon. Like, men don't cry. It's literally saying, man, be the head, man. Think. So when my uncles used to knock me on my head, like, you using that thing? It's just teaching them how to think.
Yeah.
Temperament.
Control your emotions.
So can we admit that there are times or
Special occasions.
Well, no, I'm asking men who kind of, I guess for lack of a better way to put it, abuse the phrase like men don't cry. Like, so,
No.
No,
No,
that's not a thing.
Men can't abuse it. No.
That's not a thing.
No.
I don't think
But
so.
we control it.
But
We-
let's look at it. Oh, say what you gonna say.
We control it as men. If we say it's a thing that men shouldn't cry about, we can't let another gender or somebody else come in and say, you shouldn't be saying that about men, or you're not a real man. It's almost using that same term if you let somebody control what men believe. As men, if we saying you can't cry or you don't cry, I think any man should be able to say that because it's their point of view and their masculinity.
I think what the question is, it's actually like even separate from this term toxic masculinity and separate from the Me Too movement or any other propaganda or agenda.
Right.
Like, can we as men, not even thinking about that, those other factors, can we as men abuse it? And we as humans, I believe we can abuse everything. This is just one of those things where if we negate or neglect the fact that crying is a real thing, you said getting in touch with your inner self. That's what just crossed my mind. But it's, you have to be able to identify that, yes, we are human. Crying is a real thing. Like, to say that you men don't ever cry, that's false.
We about to get into
that's
it,
a
bro.
falsehood.
Time
That's
out.
not true though.
That's true. I hear that point, but also if me and you were having a conversation, and let's say I was being irate, and you say, Mike, control your attitude. You ain't supposed to be getting angry. I think that's the same thing as saying control your emotions with crying. Like certain things that are wrong.
And have you ever abused your aggression? And
Yes.
my point.
Right,
Facts.
because
That's my point.
so where I'm kind of drawing from is you're raising a boy, and you make crying for whatever reason, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate, all across the board. You make it like, look, never do that.
Facts.
Right, and so now he grows up. And he doesn't necessarily know how to control his emotions, or he doesn't know how to assess the situation, you know what I'm saying, and say, all right, what should be, how do I respond, like you said. And so now he gets into a situation, because really what that does is when you don't allow your son to control your emotions or assess the situation, he's internalizing everything. Next thing you know, he blowing up at people, or he's socking people, or he's in a relationship with a female and she does whatever she does, and instead of him being able to control his emotions or assess the situation, he done knocked her upside the head a few times, you know what I'm saying? And so that's just to me, that's an abuse of the situation.
I get what you're saying, and that's why I said it's a tool to use for
Absolutely.
For raising a boy.
Absolutely.
Now,
I
you
agree
only
with that.
say to him, like in most cases, in cases that I've seen, you only make that statement to him when it's a situation where he shouldn't be crying.
Exactly.
When you know that your son needs to cry, he needs to let that out. You don't say that then. So he's learning that then. Like, okay, my father didn't say this to me now. Maybe that's allowing him to assess the situation.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I'm just kind of trying to say that, sometimes that tool can be misused for sure. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like
if someone passed and, you are telling yourself that you can't cry.
Right.
You can't, like, you make yourself numb, and that's not human.
You know what? That's definitely a thing, because I've done it.
No, we've all done. Well, I've done it as well.
Thing.
Like, I've been numb, like, my life, throughout my life. You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying? Like, apathetic towards, just about everything.
Absolutely.
So, but I just bring up a funeral because it's an extreme situation. Like, you are no less of a man if you cry and you bottle it. Now you go pick up a bottle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I think you can control that emotion. Where I feel like me, if I was at a funeral, I think I'd probably try to control that for my own time. Me being vulnerable, I think that's just for my own time. I don't want to be vulnerable in front of people. I understand being at church and being at the altar because that's people you putting as the head of your life, or you have people that's there to minister into, your inner. I don't even know a word
Sometimes
for
when
it.
I'm at the altar, I don't have control of it.
Yeah, and you.
That's
but
out
I
of
just,
my control.
At a funeral, I feel like I'm preparing myself to go here. Right. I know what stuff I can control going into the situation. So I feel like when my grandma passed earlier this year, I had to find a way to be. To remove myself away from the situation when people were around, to joke or to try to make plans of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So I can let out my emotions when I was by myself, when my wife was away at work or when my kids were asleep, and then say, okay, I felt this way. This is why I felt about the situation. Whatever my emotions were on that, I could let it out. And then I moved on past it because you can't really let everybody see.
So,
how you feel? People will play on that.
What? Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
something
you just
else.
answered my question, because you're like, my question was going to be, why not? Like, why can't you? You know what I'm saying? Because just kind of speaking on that time, since you brought it up, like you, you was handling it, and I relate it, just because when my pops passed, that's how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I found out he passed. It was a wild way in which how he passed. And so, like, I suppressed it big time. You know what I'm saying? Like, super suppression, and was, just doing everything, even in dealing with it, like, making the plans and doing all of that, even in dealing with it, I just wouldn't connect to it. You know what I'm saying? So, my question to you, because I mean, you was on a whole nother level. He was on a whole nother level, dog. I never saw somebody deal with death in that way. And so now you're saying, like, I can't, like, during that time, you felt like you couldn't convey your emotions. So now I'm just like, why not?
Because I think for a man, it's your responsibility to not be the weaker vessel at that time, and you're not the only one dealing with something when someone close to you died. So I felt like it was my responsibility to be strong for my wife, who was sad about it, strong for my kids, because if I was crying and I was tore about it, because I feel like if you allow the emotions in, it could overtake you at that point, because it was heavy. Your family member died. So if you let it overtake you and you're not strong enough to be able to stand strong for your kids while they're going through something, for my mom, it was my grandmother, so my mom's mom passed. So being strong for my mom, being strong for my brothers, like as the head, I had to be stronger than everyone else around me and deal with it on my own time, because it's my responsibility to be there for them.
If you let the emotions in or let them out, they can overtake you.
Yeah.
Can you say, or do you think that you feel that way because possibly growing up you weren't shown how to assess a situation or control your emotions? Do you think that's a thing? You had to take a sip of the coffee.
I had to take a sip of the coffee on that one, because I don't know if I felt like being raised around so many women, I felt like it was accepted for me to cry or to show emotions, or to be a certain way where you can be open with your feelings, essentially. And I had to do the air quotes because I couldn't say no homo, because y'all just made me feel bad for saying no homo. So I digress. My bad. I felt like my family made it okay for you to express yourself. Being raised around a lot of women, all my cousins were women. It was just me and my brother. So sharing your own personal feelings was accepted, but it wasn't something that I seen my uncles do.
Okay.
So being one uncle out of like 6 sisters, and then my grandfather, they knew that men didn't. I seen them go to church. I seen them praise the Lord and have emotions there. And I'm like, okay, that's the only place that's acceptable for. Because I also seen them go to funerals and they're carrying out the body. I seen them going there and they're holding their sister up because, my grandfather died. So my grandmother, my great grandmother was sad and, going through it. But his sons had to be the ones that had to take care of everything. So knowing that a man take care of things, we don't have time to, I don't know.
Show emotions.
But don't confuse crying with being weak. Like, so if you're at a funeral, just because you are, tearing up or whatever you may want to call it, doesn't mean that you're not still the pallbearer. It doesn't mean that everyone isn't on your shoulders still. It doesn't mean that you're not handling the legal business behind the scenes. Like, that doesn't mean that at all. And I guess it's all in
perspective.
Well, preference, within with the individual. Like, if you prefer to cry here or there, I mean, that's up to you. But now, one thing that's for sure, and I believe we all can, agree with this. We're not as strong as we think we are. Like, so we can prepare for something like a funeral, and it doesn't register until we actually see that individual in the casket. It's like, dang, they're really in the casket. But it doesn't mean that you are weak. But when it registers that they're gone, whether your emotion is silence, whether your emotion is, eyes watery, whether whatever it may be, it doesn't make you less of a man, and that's just how I feel about it. And I've seen, I seen OGs, people I've never seen cry ever, but I see them tear up at the funeral and still be the pallbearer, still, holding up everybody else. So that's a real thing. But we are not to be the boohoo factor in life. I think that's the real premise. Like crying over everything rather
Right.
than,
Boo factor.
you know what I'm saying?
Word.
Rather than, you know, again, taking charge. We can't whine and take charge.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
But there are, if you tear up at a funeral, I mean, look, that's okay.
Right.
That and again, that's just an extreme example. But you know, however you deal with it, you deal with it. Unfortunately, if you internalize it like you did, and we all had, you know, at some point of our lives, we internalized, and it may not have been at a funeral, but you know, something happened in our lives, and we were, you know, we were so mad, and we just kept it inside, and then we explode at the wrong time. It's unhealthy. You know, it's unhealthy. So I believe knowing how to channel, knowing how to express,
Boom.
and I honestly believe, even though we didn't see our, you know, our uncles and our grandfathers, you know, cry and whine, they had buddies that they can confide in.
Okay.
And it's not like they just boo-hooing in them, but it's
Right.
sometimes like, look, man, hey, the bills is crazy right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and you know, I'm not crying, but look, it's a reality.
Yeah.
This is real life for me. So we as individuals, I think having someone to confide in, just to, you know, vent. You know, we don't need answers. We're not asking for solutions. We just want to be able to let it off. I ain't got a punching bag in my house. I just want to let it off. I ain't got a bench press at my house. I just want to let it off. There's so many other channels that we can express ourselves. You dig?
Yeah, I think even in conjunction with the punching bag and the bench press, we need each other. You know what I'm saying? We definitely need to utilize the punching bag and the bench press, but we definitely gotta, you know what I'm saying, like talk to one another as well. You know what I'm saying? Because just, you know, like when my pops died, I definitely did internalize it. And at the funeral, man, it was a wrap. It almost felt uncontrolled. Well, it was extremely uncontrolled because it hit me. You know what I'm saying? I'm making all these decisions, you know, deciding this and deciding that. And then next thing you know, we at the funeral and I'm looking and it's like, yo. And my pops had a closed casket. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there like, dang. You know, and it just all hit me. And so, you know, I lost control. And it was all bad. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely think that the boo-hoo factor, man, you gotta put a cap on your boo-hoo factor.
Right.
You know what
Put
I'm
a
saying?
cap, yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
But what you have to do is learn how to control your emotions.
Definitely.
You gotta learn how to assess the situation, and at the end of the day, man, that's taught. That's taught, and most things are best taught when we are children. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Most things are best taught when we are children.
That's
Man,
and you know
go
what,
ahead.
that is a good thing, because when you say control your situation, that comes along with responsibility.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just a scenario, when you see a grown man who can't get something that he wants, he throws a fit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He doesn't have his emotions under control,
Yeah.
which is attached to his responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
So,
dog, check your boo-hoo factor, bro.
Right,
You
right,
tripping.
right.
Hashtag new term.
Hashtag boo-hoo factor. You know what I'm saying?
Coming
Straight
soon.
up. Yeah.
Definitely coming soon.
Word.
So, Dig, so what are, like, 'cause I'm still wrapping my mind around this. So what are
Okay.
some other, I guess, components, or would you say constituents, or you know, like identifiers, or
Of toxic, of this
what
diabolical.
constitutes? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So,
Anything
man,
women don't want you to do.
period, bro.
For real.
No, straight up, like,
As he drinks his coffee.
That's
I said that on the game.
oh
Y'all
yeah,
heard that?
definitely,
Oh, it's out there
definitely
now,
leak
right?
that. Yeah, yeah. So like, don't let them see you sweat. Don't show your weakness. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that people constitute as toxic masculinity. If I was to say that to you, then I'm displaying toxic masculinity.
My thing,
I just don't agree.
and my thing
Like-
on this other note, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No,
off,
you
bro.
good. I'm just
Why
gonna
you want to see me sweat? Why you want to see me tear up? Like,
Word.
what's your motive? Like,
and that's the thing.
So they can-
Their motive is we want you to be in touch with your softness.
So we can jump over top.
Huh?
Usurp.
Oh, so they can usurp, huh?
Yeah.
Boom. Boom. There you go.
They can be the head. We can be the tail.
right.
There you go. Because, men and women are equal.
I think what it is,
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a big thing of spiritual warfare, and one thing that women are always going to deal with is the Bible say, your husband should be over you. Your husband should have rule over you, and there's a cycle to in things in order, the way God set things up to be. Is He set it up for him to be over the man, for the man to be over the wife, and for the wife to be over the children. So with that, there's always going to be spiritual warfare where we don't want to talk to God, but we want our wives to respect us. But so we're clashing with God. We're not seeking His face first as men, which we must do. But also, women must come to us. Not saying that God is out of the picture, because that's doing things in order like God said. They still must go to God, but we still the final say. We're the say in the household. God's the final say, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So spiritual warfare is just them fighting with the idea that someone has to be over them. They're created just like we're created. And for them, for it to say that, oh man, we're the weaker vessel, they're like, oh, that's offensive. Or
Right.
men saying this how we gonna do it, and really being firm in a position, they're giving backlash because it's spiritual warfare.
Right.
Because who said it? Was it Paul
That's
said we
good.
war against the flesh daily? So if we're warring against the flesh daily, we're warring against God because we don't want to communicate. They're warring against God because they don't want to, against their flesh because they don't want to respect roles.
Right.
And us as men having a role in the world, I feel like we should coin a term as, I was thinking about it earlier to say Christian chauvinist. Because I think anybody that's a Christian should be a chauvinist in a sense. And the chauvinist is not a negative term. It's saying they respect the idea that men are the head. So things that men do is not bad. It's not wrong. I respect that my wife, can give birth to children. I can't never do that. I don't have any problem with saying that's your thing. Do your thing, baby. I love you for it. So saying I'm supposed to be the head, why am I getting backlash for knowing that's what I'm supposed to be? That's what my job is. That's what I was created to do. You were created to give birth. I was created to be the head.
Yeah, I think it's because of the negative connotation. Like, it has such a negative tone. Women are the weaker vessel. You said that's offensive to lots of women, even if they don't even know that's the word. Like, when you say it, women get super offended.
Even if they know it's the word, they get offended. I'm like,
yeah, they know it's the word or they don't. Like, when you hear women say that, or when you hear a man say it, or when you hear anybody say it, women, they tend to tense up. Shout out to Bishop Noel Jones, you know what I'm saying? Because I actually was listening to him kind of break that whole women are the weaker vessel thing down. I can't articulate it like he did, but he basically compared men to a juice glass and women to a wine glass. And so you can pour wine into a juice glass, and you can pour juice into a wine glass, and vice versa. Obviously, a wine glass was made for wine, and a juice glass was made for juice. So, in other words, it doesn't matter what you pour into the glass. Like, you can pour the same things into the glass. However, the way that you care for the juice glass cannot be the way that you care for the wine glass. You're gonna have to be delicate when you dealing with the wine glass. You can't just shove your hand into the wine glass, you know what I'm saying, and wash it out. You got to be delicate because it's a thinner piece of glass versus the juice glass. You know, you can take the juice glass and, you know what I'm saying, wash it how you want to wash it and treat it how you want to treat it. And so, to me, that was such a phenomenal breakdown. Like, man, when he made that breakdown, I was like, man, this dude is a genius, man. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, that says it all. So, you're not any less capable of learning this or learning that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the same things that can be poured into a man can be poured into a woman as far as knowledge is concerned. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the way that a woman needs to be treated or a way that a man needs to be treated. You know what I'm saying?
And dig this. So, and that's a great analogy for sure. That paints the picture for everybody.
Facts.
You know, it makes it simple.
Yeah, man.
But that's one reason why, although we're the head, which really just gives us the responsibility as the leader, we can't be chauvinistic though. So, because I was just looking it up, like, to be a chauvinist is to be aggressive. Like, we can't be aggressive with the delicate thing.
All right.
But the way we lead, the way we charge is aggressive.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We just can't be aggressive with the woman.
Right.
But our path, our trajectory, the vision, oh yeah, we're aggressive. So what's an example, Rick? So
glad you asked.
I'm like, we might as well leave.
Right. Self said, huh?
Go ahead.
but when it's something like finances, you know, so me and my wife, we both had our own philosophy of, you know, how we can improve our finances and get out of debt. Something that I was already studying prior to even, you know, getting married. But as we sit down and, you know, we discuss which path, which route would benefit us most, it is our responsibility to ensure that we carry it out. Whatever selected.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, our idea may be good. It may work. But me being a man, if I understand that that's just not it, then I have to still be able to have enough guts, courage, unction to say we're going to do it this way though.
Right.
However, if her way was the better way, we still have to have enough humility to say, let's do it. But it's up to us as the leader of the household to carry it out. So when the balance is somewhere we don't like it to be, is, you know, it's in the red, it's not her fault.
It's still your fault.
Even if it was her idea.
Even if it was her idea, it's not her fault.
Even if you gave her the responsibility of it.
Even.
It's still fall on you.
Even if, so dig this, so even if you implemented the financial strategy and you placed her over it like you did, it is still your responsibility to ensure that we are successful.
Right.
So that's where we are aggressive.
And if you fail in the
It's
eyes
on
of
us.
the Lord,
It's
you
on
fail.
us. It's on us.
Everything.
And that, my brothers, is toxic masculinity.
No way.
Even though I agree wholeheartedly with everything you just said. You know what I'm saying? But this is what they doing to us.
That's the devil, bro.
Man,
That's the devil, bro.
he was trying to think of something. He was trying to think of another way to say it. He said, "Look, I can't even put this no other way."
That's it. Like, how do you try? Like, that's trying to put a label on something that the Lord, how the Lord told us to be.
Man,
So now you
it's
trying to put a
his structure.
label on
It's
it.
his institution, man. You know what I mean? It's so crazy because you kind of just touched on another thing that I kind of wanted to touch on as far as like strength and aggression. You know what I mean? And you hit the nail right on the head. You know what I mean? Strength and aggression. My question was going to be: Is it a such thing as too much strength or too much aggression?
I agree with everything that Rick ended it with. Like, if I had to take his words and put it as a period at the end of what I'm about to say, I would do that. But I also believe we have, the Bible says, deal with your wife according to knowledge. And I don't think that's just a wife thing. I think people have to say, my spouse was raised this way. This may be where they're coming from. And I think as men, we're taught to fight back. We're taught to, matter of fact, let's say me and Rick got into a fight growing up as kids. We fought on the same block this morning. 2 hours later, we're going to be best friends again.
That's a fact.
So when we fight as men or argue with our wives, they don't understand that we're already taught to be aggressive. We're taught to say, I'm the head man here. If we all sat at this table right now and say, I'm the leader, in our own minds, we can be like, no, I'm the leader. No, I'm the leader. It's just what we taught. It's how we're taught to see who's the alpha male.
Okay.
And the alpha male syndrome within black men, which I got to speak about, is extremely strong. I feel like we are like, quote unquote, want to be the alpha male out there because situations I don't want to harp on today because of our environments. Right. Thank you.
Okay. He said, I don't want to harp on it today.
Not today. That's a later discussion.
I
But
hear you.
being from inner cities, predominantly where we ghettoized, the black man being ghettoized, essentially, we are taught to fight to survive. And because we are so aggressive, essentially, as kids, boys fight. Don't get out there. If somebody hits you, fight them back. All that stuff. They think now we're supposed to be emotional. So deal with your wife according to knowledge. Also deal with your husband. We argue, but we're going to move forward. Let's break the situation down. Come to me later. Give me some space so I can think about what I got to say to you, because if I deal with you, this is going to be something that's going to get me in trouble. But if you talk to me like that, I'm taught to punch somebody in the face for talking to me reckless. If you was a dude, I'd get busy with you. But we can't say that to our wives. We can't treat our wives like that.
Right.
But we raised to fight back.
But that comes with wisdom.
It comes with wisdom.
Man.
Being a wise man.
You have to know when to fight your battles. You have to know
in any scenario.
Even with dude on dude.
How to fight your
seriously.
battles.
how to
Yeah,
fight your
when and
battle,
how.
when.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rick, you talked about, you have to know how to not be so aggressive with your spouse. You know what I'm saying? But, it absolutely is. And I know you know this, but it absolutely is a learning experience.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you have been raised in a way to where, you're raised around the homies or in the neighborhood and y'all are always competing with each other. It's sometimes hard to turn that off.
Oh, yeah.
When you going and you dealing with, your lady or just a woman, period. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be your spouse. You know what I'm saying? It could just be, one of your female coworkers. You know what I'm saying? Or just a woman, period.
You want to know something? I haven't apologized more in my life than I have since I've been married.
Word.
Man, for real, bro.
Word.
For real.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
And
That's
it don't
real,
be fake.
man.
Like when the smoke clears and I look at how I contributed to whatever. it's
Word.
like, I didn't have to say that.
Hey, you know what?
I really didn't. I could have stopped, and we could have been eating chicken way earlier.
See there?
Right. And I think is this
know,
toxic masculinity? I have gotten to the point where sometimes I'm like, man, I'm tired of apologizing,
Ooh.
and then turn around and
Apologize.
Don't come over here to me. You just heard me say that. That's why you gonna come over to me. You gonna put me out on the video.
My bad, bro. I couldn't control my emotions, I guess.
Brandon, I blame you for that one, Brandon.
no,
man.
I'm just saying, like, That's really I've been through that, bro.
Yeah, but we can't never.
Right, but you and then
can't
you turn
never be
around like
tired
"Man, I
of-
gotta say this again.
Yeah.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
you know what? Dave
gotta
said
say
something.
this
I don't know.
again.
Was it you? It was you, either Rick or Dave. A week ago or 2 weeks ago, said to me, "Is no such thing as a hypocrite when you're amongst friends."
I said that.
That was you.
Yeah.
And I was like, man,
Break
that's
that
deep.
down.
And way he may can break it down better because he said it to me, but the way I took it or have taken it, I was like, man, you right. If I did something wrong and my homeboy
I
doing
see
something
what you're
wrong,
saying.
I still gotta check him because, all right, bro, look,
Right.
Okay,
not
okay.
right now, my
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
We been there before. Look, let me
Yeah.
tell you what happened to me. Well, nah, don't do that. Come on. Even if you know you were wrong when you did it a week ago, and your man
Right.
know it, you still know in that
Oh,
situation.
that's real good.
It's
Yeah.
getting real.
Yeah, because when you amongst friends, it's like you see your homie doing something that you may have just done, and you
Right.
might feel like, man, I can't tell him not to do that because I was just doing it.
Right.
But no,
right,
like, bro,
right.
you wrong for that.
I
you
just
know what I'm
learned
saying?
from that
Exactly.
last week. So
Exactly.
you
Like,
don't want to go
no.
down that road, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just did it, but it was wrong when I did it.
Right,
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
right.
Yeah. So that's all that was.
But you want to know something? Before you go to the next segment, I felt it, and it can be difficult being a man of God, man or woman of God, a Christian follower of God. When you slip up in the area, and then you see somebody else slip up in the area, and you have to minister to them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's pretty much what you just said, but I wanted to just tie it to the kingdom, because we can hinder the ministry that is in us, even though we fell short just 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
So break it down. Peter cursed and denied Jesus 7 days prior to him baptizing 3,000 people.
See?
So if he said, I can't do this,
Right.
I just
denied-
cussed.
Yeah, I did.
Just
X,
cussed
Y,
old
and
girl
Z.
out. He cussed
Right,
old girl
right,
out. Like, I told you, I didn't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just took a shot last night. I just hit a blunt last night. How I'm gonna tell them? It's like, no, the Lord is using you. You want to know something that I learned? Anything that is revealed to you, whether directly or indirectly, it is not a coincidence.
Okay.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it could be to the smallest thing, but whatever. It is not by a coincidence. It's not by accident. You know, that something has been revealed to you. However, it's never always necessary for you to address it to an individual directly. Sometimes it's just, okay, this is what I need to pray for. Or sometimes, okay, I saw myself. I can see myself responding like that. Now I shouldn't respond. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many other avenues and benefits. But I learned that, like, just within the past couple of weeks, like, nothing is revealed to us by accident.
Can I hop on what you just
Hop
said
on.
though, bro? You said something that was like
No homo.
No homo. I hopped on that, man.
Hey, that was appropriate. But that was a good
Said,
example.
"Hop on."
That was a good example. I ain't say it like that,
You
bro.
definitely did. It's cool though.
He said,
You said it though.
No, but my head didn't ring, Irvin.
toxic
My head didn't
masculinity,
ring. My
bro.
head didn't ring like this. He said, "Hop on."
so, if you said it like that, what would that have meant?
I had to put the emphasis on it.
Well, tag me in. How about that? Is that better? Like, tag me in. I don't know. I'm
No homo, bro.
No homo.
Yeah, for real.
I can just say that.
Say it.
Pause. Can we use the new term?
Yeah,
The new
word.
pause. So,
Word.
bro, you said something so deep, just as a man, because this podcast is honor amongst men, and you said everything is not for me to say something on, but you said when you were speaking just now, you said to pray. And that's our connection with God. That's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And I just wanted
Right,
to
like you
put a
said.
bigger emphasis on it. Like, man, we really sometimes you don't gotta say everything, but prayer actually works. And what they say, God inhabits our praise.
Yeah.
So sometimes we can't make like being at the altar is just for, oh, I'm sad. Me and my girl got into it, or my money not looking right,
Word.
or whatever. Like, you could be at the altar praising to God because of
Just thanking him.
thanking him.
Thank you. Thank you, Jesus.
Just thanking.
pray, look, Lord,
And that's what
help,
a
intercede.
lot of people get that confused. They
Yeah.
think it's the altar of sin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go to the altar and just to say thank you. You know what I'm
Word.
saying? Like that's what it's for both. It's for all. Whatever you want to bring to the Lord, bring it to the altar.
Surrendering
If you
it
just
to
want to
him.
come to talk,
Word.
hey, I'm confused right now, Lord.
It's the altar
know,
of sacrifice. Essentially.
Altar of sacrifice.
The
I
altar
think
of
so.
sacrifice, man.
Last thing I'm gonna say real quick. I think sometimes I feel like I be like coasting off of some of my grandmother's prayers, and this might sound weird to you, but I'm like, man, I definitely don't deserve all this. I know somebody had to be praying for me right here.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
fact.
that's definitely
So I'll be
a
like,
fact.
intercede on someone's behalf
Yes,
is
sir.
extremely
Yeah.
important, and I
Yes,
think
sir.
we need to we don't need to just take the time to pray for ourselves, but we need to pray for our family, our children,
That's good
our
you
main
said
mans, my dudes, even my mans that's not in God. I need to be praying that God, like He
Have
called
mercy
me.
on them.
He
Yeah.
called. Why would you call me a
Right,
filthy?
right.
Who was speaking of filthy
Right.
rags yesterday? Like
PM.
PM. He was talking about how he said washing toilets, bro. I was like, ooh, emphasis. Every dirty toilet in the world, you've been in some dirty bathrooms, man.
Facts.
Yes, I definitely.
So I was like, man, filthy rags. I was filthy, and you called me. So
Called
like,
you.
Jesus, please call my
everyone.
man.
Right.
The angels will rejoice when one soul is safe. Like, Lord, let me help. How can I help?
And you know that's one of the benefits of speaking in tongues as well.
Right.
Mhm.
Like because we
Interceding.
don't understand it, but we be interceding for people in China. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
you just never know. That's one of the benefits of actually speaking in tongues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the word. For sure. So
Good stuff. Man.
you touched on being a man, like being a man. So what is I'll preface it like this. Maybe you won't agree, y'all, but to me, there's really no such thing. Well, now there is in today's society there is, but to me, there's really no such thing as like real man or a fake man. Like you're not a real man, or you a real man, or you know what I'm saying, that's a fake. You a fake man. Now, what I mean by it is now in today's society, simply because if you were born a woman, you can get a surgery and give you male genitalia. If you were born a man, you can actually get a surgery to give you female genitalia. And to me, that's a fake man or
Definitely.
a fake. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, they're good men and then they're bad men. You know what I'm saying? I mean, essentially. And so, what would y'all say are the characteristics of a good man? Like
Responsibility.
main characteristics, because I mean we could be all day. You
Yeah,
know what
we
I'm
could
saying?
be
Like, we
all
could
day.
go all day. But like essential characteristics that will make you a good man.
Understanding responsibility.
Dope. There you go. There's one. What about you, Mike?
I remember one of my favorite mentors. He had a program called Love for Self, and I think a good man is someone that has love for self and know what yourself is, know what you make up, what you add to the community, and who your actual self is, like and what you identify, what you are, and who you can be. And I think about like being a dad, being a black man, being first of all, being a Christian, having a love for who I actually am, and then walking in that light. So everywhere I go, that's what I am. So if I walk out, I'm a Christian. I have to carry myself in that decorum in every arena I go into. Everywhere I go, I'm a dad, no matter if my children's there or not. Everywhere I go, I'm a husband, no matter if my children there, my wife there or not.
Dope.
So carrying yourself in that way, having a love for self, who you are in every arena, is important.
Oh, what about you? What about you, Rick?
Actually, I'll just add on to Irvin, understanding responsibility as a leader. Because, even as a leader, you're a servant.
Ooh-wee.
Facts.
Ooh-wee.
Facts.
Like, in fact, in order to be a good leader, I pray, show me how to be a good servant.
All right.
Matter of fact, Solomon's prayer. When the Lord asked him, what do you want? I give you whatever.
Man.
A servant's heart.
Wow.
But then, if we go to the New Testament, the Bible said the greatest among you shall be your servant. So, yeah, how to, understand the responsibility as a leader. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll just add that, a man of God. A man of God. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be a good man?
Actively seeking the Lord.
Absolutely.
Actively, yeah.
Absolutely. Actively seeking the Lord. Being a man of God.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because he gonna teach you all the rest of what we was talking about.
Period.
There you
He
go.
gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
He
for
gonna
real.
give it to you.
Period. Because
For
essentially, he is the creator, you know what I'm saying, of what all the things we named are his guidelines.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And I gotta say this. So, being a man of God compared to being a man of God who's married, who has a family, compared to a man who isn't, a man of God. Now, we all know fathers, we all know husbands who lead like no other. You know what I'm saying? Like, they handle the household like none other. So imagine an individual, for one, there's a principle right there because they still recognize that they're still the head. So there's a blessing within that, whether people accept it
Right,
or not,
just
whether
yes.
people credit God or not.
Right.
There's a principle right there as well.
Principle, absolutely.
And then God, he blesses marriages as well. So that's something else that people may not give credit to God for,
Right.
but that comes to, having an understanding. But imagine, men who aren't saved and they're leading these households, just in an awesome way. Just imagine having that additional insight. And I'm speaking to those who aren't saved, but having that additional insight. So, for an example, everybody who's breathing on this earth is blessed. If you woke up this morning, you are blessed, period. You don't have to be saved. You don't have to know a scripture. Matter of fact, you could be an atheist. You could be blasphemous. You are still blessed. God is blessing you. And every breath is essential, is important, is valuable to anyone that's alive. Just imagine if you had access to the reserved blessings.
The overflow.
Yeah, man.
The blessings that's like you got to have the key for this one.
Right. Right.
And in fact, when you have the key, you don't really need the key because the door is just open. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Preach.
Go ahead.
Right, while you
Go ahead, man.
While you over here.
Water.
Go ahead. I'm there.
Right, the doors of the church are open. Is there one?
But that's the benefit of being a man of God, because we have access to the blessings that are on reserve.
Absolutely.
That's good, brother.
Man, that's dope. That's so dope. That just reminds me of me. I was talking to my wife last night, and we was talking about our son, how good he is at he's a musician, and so how good he is as far as just being a musician, and how he don't practice like he should. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't practice like he should, but he's still good.
Yeah.
And so we were both just saying, like, man, we need to kind of get him on that level, get him to get to practicing, because imagine how much more, you know what I'm saying, he would excel. And so it just speaks to the point, man. Like, you could be doing your thing, operating in the principles of God.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But once you come into that knowledge, man, it's a whole nother trajectory. I hope I use that word right. I felt like it was the right way to use it. But yeah. So get in Jesus, man.
Get in Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Moral of the story. Straight up. So what about weakness and passiveness? Like, as a man, are those characteristics ever okay?
I think not weakness, but passiveness. that's that wise conversation I was talking about with your wife. You know, knowing when to be wise and to, I ain't gonna say let her get away with something, but you can have this conversation,
Hey,
babe.
man,
you
look.
can have this argument.
Sometimes you gotta let them
know
get
what I'm
away
saying?
with stuff, bro.
Right, you can have this conversation. We're neither one of us are gonna win anything extra if we keep going.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you can have this.
Okay.
But as far as the weakness, you have to break that down.
It's never okay. No, I mean weakness.
Yeah. No, that's not. I don't think that's ever okay.
Yeah, word.
That's never.
Yeah, like what's weakness?
Right.
No,
like
hey, bro.
Look,
That, whatever you just thought of, just now to make you ask that question.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I personally don't think that weakness. Now, yeah, weakness is ever okay.
No.
When we're dealing, now obviously we're talking from a flesh standpoint, a practical standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Man, even spiritually, the word says, "When I am weak, then I am strong." You know what I'm saying? Because the Lord is my strength. You know what I'm saying? But just because when I am weak, then I am strong, it don't make
I'm
weakness
operating
okay.
Weakness.
You know what I'm saying? Because essentially, when I am weak, then I am strong. You looking for that strength. You need that strength. You know what I mean? And so, man, I could be wrong. I could be interpreting it wrong, but I don't think weakness is ever okay.
And in that one, I don't think you're displaying. But in that scripture, I don't think you're displaying your weakness outward. I think that's
the feeling of like,
right,
yeah, like when I
like,
feel weak,
right. I go. To
I
the
can
Lord,
go to absolutely,
and I get my strength. But I don't think it's an outward.
like, oh, I'm weak.
Right,
Yeah.
Boo-hoo factor on 10.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Word.
But in that scripture, it's recognizing your frailties.
Absolutely.
And then, like you guys were saying, being able to seek God at the same time. Lord, I'm this.
Right.
I need you.
Knowing where your strength comes from.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree. But yeah, I agree. We can't be weak. Period. Whether we been in the spiritual, and when I say in the spiritual, like being a weak Christian, being tossed and thrown by every wind, by every challenge, every dart that's thrown at us, we want to, our tails curry, or you know what I'm saying? We want to run the opposite direction. No, we can't be weak like that, even in the spiritual. Like, no, we have to be bold. We have to be bold and humble simultaneously. You feel me? But humble doesn't mean weak.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
You can only get that from the Lord. That combination right there.
Hey,
Jesus,
hello.
man,
can only
the
get
Bible is a double entendre.
Now, what if I ask you guys this? What if I ask you, and this, tell me, because I'm not posing like something to be on the contrary. That's my thing to do, to be on the opposite side normally. But what if I ask you guys if a synonym of weak is vulnerable? What if you say you agree with it or disagree? Like, what you say? Because when I heard it, I thought of being vulnerable, personally, and that's why I'm saying, like, am I out of pocket for thinking? Because I think if it is a case of being vulnerable, I think of the not to take the question away from you guys, I think of the fruits of the spirit, and using the fruits of the spirit and explaining them to my children or trying to learn them. As a grown man, I'm like, well, for instance, our wife's got a business called Meek, and you think of meekness, and I'm like, that's weak. In a sense, and I'm not saying, and it's not taken away from being bold, being a man. I'm like, being vulnerable.
But when I think of vulnerable, I always attach vulnerable to the word love.
Okay,
Good deal.
Always. So me loving my wife, I'm vulnerable to her. That doesn't make me weak.
okay.
And you can't even be in love without being vulnerable.
We.
Because you have to let your guard down. Do you know that we are vulnerable as friends?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's nothing that you got to even.
You did this 2 days in a row to me, bro. 2 days in a row. Yesterday was intimate.
What did I do?
Yesterday we used the word intimate. if you don't say no homo after you say these things, like,
He said, I can't respect you no more.
no, I'm just gonna be angry.
It's getting out of hand.
All this stuff, like I don't want it. I don't want it. It's too much.
Say, I don't know how to deal with all this.
I'm a man.
Too much going on. I can't accept all this.
I don't
at
like this
once.
terminology, the stuff we're debating on. Go ahead, my bad, bro.
No,
You being weak, you being vulnerable to me. I love
But
you.
no, but like that's like he correct because you have to be able to take correction from your friend, so you have to be vulnerable. Like if you're not willing to take correction, what are we doing?
Word.
So weakness is not vulnerable.
I don't put those two together.
It's just having your, and I guess it depends on the context. So let me explain. If you're vulnerable on the battlefield,
Oh, that's gay.
you know, people like use that term, like people use that term, like, you know, you're vulnerable if you don't have a helmet on. If you don't have no bullets in your magazine or your clip, you're vulnerable out there.
Right.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Like,
And that's not a good thing.
Nah,
that's not a
that's
good
not a
thing
I don't say that's
whatsoever.
vulnerable. You tripping?
So your effort, so dig this. It may not make you a weak individual, but your effort has been
You
weakened.
wide open.
You know what I'm saying?
Flat out.
So, but no, when I think of vulnerable, when I think about, you know, love as well. That's seriously. It's funny you said that, but so no, you have to be vulnerable. But dig this, meek. Because I think about Jesus. He's the greatest example. I had to explain to my wife one time, you know, we were just having our little discussions after the smoke cleared. Thank God for clearing the smoke when
Hello.
it does.
Hello.
And she was actually saying, I think you were saying this earlier, Irvin, that, you know, sometimes you get tired of apologizing. And she said that to me, like she get tired of apologizing and she felt weak. And I'm like, hold on, let's dig into this. If you can muster up enough strength to say I'm sorry,
That's good.
whether or not it's your fault, that's not weak. That's not showing
good. That's
weakness
strength.
at all. That's you understanding what's necessary for us to move forward. So the greatest example is Jesus.
I agree with you, and I also think it connects the scripture towards it.
And I got it. That was
Okay.
that Selah.
No, go
You
ahead,
feel
go
me?
ahead.
That was-
He
you
paused
feel
for
me?
an amen.
My bad.
One of the amen.
Well,
amen.
Preach, preacher.
That was that
You wanted the
Selah.
amen right there.
You know, but for Jesus, having all of this power, the embodiment of power itself, said, I'm going to take this. 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 And then allow you to pin me to the cross. I'm going to take this. Then allow you, you know, to crucify me. He wasn't weak whatsoever. That was all power that kept him going.
Word.
Power kept him on the cross. Power said, I'm going to give up the ghost. That was power. None of that was weak. So when an individual can say, I'm sorry, that isn't a sign of weakness. That is a sign of strength and power. In fact, sometimes when she beat me to it, it's like, dang, why didn't I do it? You know what I'm saying? And it's not like, you know, a power trip or anything like that, but it really it really symbolizes, you know, strength rather than weak. But society has
There it
us
is.
thinking, you know, this is that way, that is this way. No, but that's why it's important for us to know these scriptures, man. You know?
Word.
Man, that's good, brother.
Yeah, that's great, man. So great. I want to kind of backtrack just a little bit for just a second before we get done and talk about, we kind of touched on this yesterday when we was just randomly chopping it up about the color pink. You know, when we going over toxic masculinity, you know, one of the identifiers is like, you know, real men don't wear pink, or you a man, you can't wear pink. Like, is that even a thing?
Can you answer that question with a yes and a no? I think you can.
All right.
Okay.
I think you can answer that question with a yes and a no.
You can't.
You can. I think you can. I think it's important for me to say yes and no.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. I hear what you're saying. Okay. So you saying yes and no.
Yes and no.
All right.
I think
so you already know you got to break that down.
I think you can wear whatever you want to wear.
Okay.
You can be whoever you want to be, and you can't let no one control you. But you also have to be mindful of societal norms and societal strongholds.
Okay.
And I understand as a child, girls get a pink blanket, boys get a blue blanket. That's really not a thing anymore. Everybody get these ugly tan blankets now. So understanding that was a thing for, so forth. But I also believe you have to, at an early age, I connect the color pink or blue and so forth with things you allow your children to do as young. Just because I'm a dad, a lot of stuff go towards being a dad. Mm-hmm. I don't allow my son to play with Barbie dolls. I don't allow him to play with pink because it's connecting with your man things. Certain things are boyish, certain things are girlish.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Pink, that idea of pink, it's just girlish. Obviously, they use it for a lot of girl things. When you're older and you're able to be strong in who you are, then you can walk around as who you are and not be swayed. Me wearing a pink tie doesn't make me feel like I'm a girl at that point.
Right.
But at an early age, they don't really put pink in little boys' clothing at that age.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So him wanting to wear pink like his sisters wear,
yeah.
no, you're not gonna do what your sisters do because you're not the same as your sisters.
Because he's still being molded.
And that's definitely how I feel about it. Like, until you understand your sexuality and secure in your sexuality, like the lines can't be blurred with you, then you can try different stuff as far as colors and clothing. As you know what I'm saying, you can try different stuff, but until then, you have to keep them boundaries. This is what boys do. This is what girls do. But once you feel that your child is secure in their sexuality, then it's
Can I add one more thing before you go? Just because being one of the youth leaders, I think it's important for me to also say there is a thing of not being overtaken by the culture as well. And I know we just spoke on the color pink, but pink is acceptable nowadays, but don't go wearing girls' clothing. That's never
All
acceptable.
right. There
Never.
we go.
Don't put on a skirt because you feel like I'm a man and I can wear a skirt. Or
There we go.
I'm gravy in this princess dress because I'm a man. No, that's never cool.
right.
You can wear pink. You can throw a pink T-shirt on, pink polo. You can have some pink Air Force, white Air Forces with the pink line. Okay, that's gravy. But don't wear no dress.
I think if
Or no super tight pants.
Listen to both of y'all.
No jeggings.
Yeah, none of that.
Listen to both of y'all. This sounds like the influence behind it. You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right.
Like, what's the influence?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Absolutely.
when we wear that pink tie, it's because we understand accents.
We
Right.
jaggy.
You know what I'm
we
saying?
jaggy.
Like, we understand accents. It's not because we were looking at Cosmo magazine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not it.
I never seen it.
Hey, I was so lost over here. Like,
Well, I read a lot of books, so I when you're in a bookstore, you see all these. I probably said it wrong. I think cosmetology. I don't even know.
Cosmetology.
Instead of ice cream, ain't it? The
You see?
3-flavored ice cream.
Look, my bad. I probably said. You see, I'm saying it wrong.
We obviously don't read it.
Matter of
right?
fact, Cosmos, I think that's a drink, and it's a magazine. It's
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
there.
It's
That's
a women's magazine.
in
where-
between.
on the other side.
In between Cosmos and Cosmopolitan, it's
I
in
said it
there.
wrong.
It's a magazine. Somewhere in between those two names. But
We silly, man.
the influence, like the why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Absolutely. Why? I think that is extremely
And I wear
important.
salmon. I really don't wear pink.
Hey, listen.
Keep going that way. You went that way. Can you explain that for me for a minute? Because you keep saying that.
Right.
It's a difference.
It
bro.
is a different color.
Salmon
but
is
I've
definitely
seen
different
him with pink
than
and
pink.
salmon.
You wear pink,
Man, he
What's the
drove
next
that
segment?
bus. Yeah, he drove that bus.
We ain't finna do that.
That's alternative facts. That's that fake news.
Yeah, that's that fake news.
We ain't finna do that.
But I definitely.
Hold on. Pause. You ain't never gonna wear pink though, Dave. How about that? You ain't even answer the question. You try and wrap it up. Hey, Rick, we as homeboys, Brandon. What up? You think you'll see what Dave Rock paint?
Oh, he's supposed to wear it next Sunday, huh?
Look,
See, look at
I'm just gonna say that I agree with what y'all saying. It's not about the color. You know what I'm saying? Like if I found a dope enough combination,
Word.
you know what I'm saying? I rock any color. Just to
I
keep
feel
it
that.
all the way 100. If it was a dope enough combination, you know what I'm saying? I gotta stay loyal to my soil. Shout out to the west side of Detroit. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's really where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think my prom suit was like a salmon jacket with the cream pants with the, you know, with the little accents here and there. You know what I mean? So
Flexed.
you know what I mean?
Flexed.
I smashed them. Yeah, man. No, but so yeah, man. I'm not above it. You know what I'm saying? I don't own any. You know what I'm saying? Pink right now, but
But I get it. We get it.
yeah, it's not the color.
It's colors we don't have in our closet.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's just, it's not the color.
It's the motives.
I
It's
have
the
no yellow.
It's your motives.
What's
You
a
know
girl
what I
though?
mean? It's your reasoning. You know, a pink shirt is okay. A pink blouse is definitely not okay.
Definitely not cool.
But
Boys
check,
can't wear blouse.
but check this: a black blouse
Ain't cool.
is not okay. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, we just got to be conscious, man.
And because it's such a blurry line, I don't even think the silk shirts that everybody wearing now are okay.
Hey, you don't think so?
Silk shirts?
No, man.
Man,
I don't know which ones they wearing.
Me neither, because when I was 13,
It's a different
Yeah.
silk. It's a different silk that they wearing.
oh
these
word,
days. It's a
okay, because
different
we used to
silk,
have the
but-
silk button-ups.
Oh, yeah, that's the only thing that
one
came to my
didn't have
mind.
a-
You know what I'm
it didn't have
saying?
a collar. It had the little small piece right there.
Yeah,
I know that- yeah,
buddy.
oh, yeah,
yeah, man.
That was Easter time
Yeah.
right there,
Oh
boy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Man, I used to go to school. I used to go to high school every Wednesday. Me and some of my partners used to either throw on like a suit or like just the fly silk shirt with the fly slacks every Wednesday.
Boy,
I used to
y'all was-
carry a briefcase.
Y'all was some players.
I can
boy.
dig
Y'all
that.
was some
That was
smooth
sad.
cats.
Detroit a different place, bro. I
Y'all
swear.
was
Straight up, we like made a
smooth
pact.
cats.
Like, yeah, we on Wednesday we gonna kill them. Come through and just smash.
That's
you know
that
what I'm
Motown in your blood.
saying?
That
Word.
is.
So yeah, we definitely used to rock the silk, but I ain't seen the silk, the new, the
They
new.
like the Versace shirts from back from the Diddy era. Those joints, but they real floral now.
That's like lace.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
still
flowers
considered-
are like the thing now.
Yeah, it's
bro.
real floral now with the
On
silk
everything.
shirt.
Flowers?
Yeah,
Goodness
it's on
Oh, no.
everything now.
Men can't wear flowers on their
Gracious.
clothes.
That's
Hey,
my
bro.
wife's favorite pattern. I think she'd look at me totally funny if I had on a flower anything. She'd be like, "Bro, what are you doing?"
Man, step off the porch for a couple minutes. You'll see somebody rocking it. Man.
Word.
It's
You'll
crazy.
see it. It's out here. It's
Word.
everywhere.
Man, crazy. I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying, touch that right quick just to let people know, you know, it ain't the color, man. What you doing? You know what I'm saying? Where your mind at with it? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, this was a great discussion.
Man,
As usual. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, toxic masculinity. You know, at the end of the day, you know, toxic masculinity is a code word that was basically created to ostracize traditional manliness and help promote the effeminization of men. Period, point blank. You know what I mean? And so, you know, we have to be conscientious about how we react in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? We have to be really aware enough to control our emotions. You know what I mean? As men, You know, there are times where, you know, humility is called for, and there are times where aggression is called for, and we just have to know. Being a man is knowing when to do which one, when to behave either way. So, yeah, man, if it's anything left to be said, Mike, go ahead and put a button on it, man. Toxic masculinity.
See y'all next time. You killed it for me.
You definitely put the button on the entire topic.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man, well, y'all heard it here, man. We just want to thank y'all, man, as usual, for joining us. If you made it this far, round of applause for you. Yeah, this has been the Honor Among Men podcast. Real men, real topics, real issues, real talk. And man, follow us. SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, The Flowers Now Network, all one word. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, and we'll see y'all next